Hello, Capricorn, and welcome to Board with Everything. I already have your cards laid out. Um, Capricorn, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, liking my content, and just remember that this is for you. I've cleared your space. I've drawn the cards, and Capricorn, this reading, it's really feeling like a turning point. I have the Knight of Swords here, the Temperance, and the Tower, the Ten of Swords reversed as the overall energy, and the Ten of Pentacles underneath everything. And Capricorn, I want you to pay attention to that because this doesn't feel like a reading about staying stuck as we've discussed before. This feels like movement, a major shift, and the ending of a cycle that has kept you in survival mode. Okay? Something is changing, and I don't necessarily think it's something to fear because we do have the Tower card, we have the Ten of Pentacles, in reverse. I think this is something that's making room for what you're actually trying to build, Capricorn. And that's what we've been talking about. We've been talking about building, transformation, and there's been a lot of financial abundance coming in, for you in whatever it is that you are building, Capricorn. So when we look at the first card, which is the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Swords is a fast moving energy, right? Just a second, Capricorn. I thought I heard something. So the Knight of Swords is a fast moving energy, right? And I don't want you to feel like you have to move in haste, but things are turning like really, really fast, okay? And honestly, Capricorn, I think that things are moving fast because it's new. Like if something was to move at this rate and you're very familiar with it, it wouldn't be considered fast. But right now, the Knight of Swords is telling you, and here it is right here. The Knight of Swords is telling you that it is time to move. It's like you suddenly may find yourself making decisions that you've been thinking about for a long time. And you may receive news, you may receive information, an opportunity or conversation, an offer, or simply have movement that says, you know what, enough of this. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do this. This card represents like huge mental energy. You've thought about it, you've analyzed it, you've considered every possible outcome, and you're ready to move. You're ready to act on this thing. But there's a warning here too, Capricorn. So don't allow the urgency to become impulsive. Okay? So don't just move on a whim or, oh my God, I gotta do. No, don't let that urgency to move become impulsive, you know. And then we have the Temperance card. This is saying don't rush the process. Okay? So you have the Knight of Swords and then you have that Temperance card. One says move, the other says move with balance. So balance, move with balance. Okay? So the message may be here, Capricorn. I don't know why I keep putting the cards down. The message here, Capricorn, may be move forward, but don't lose yourself in the process, right? Okay? Because that's that impulsive, movement. So don't lose yourself in the process. You don't have to choose between action. You don't have to choose between action and patience. You can take decisive action while being strategic. Okay? So Capricorn, Temperance is telling you to have a middle ground, right? Have a middle ground between rushing and not moving at all, like procrastination, being fear about something versus wrecking it, like messing it up because you have fear. Because we know that fear of what you don't want to do causes you to do it. So let's have a middle ground between that. You're going to have fear. This is a new thing. You're going to feel like you got to rush, you got to get it done because it's so not impulsive, but it's coming in like with urgency. So you don't want to procrastinate, you don't want to fear, and you definitely want to have control, but you don't want to surrender to whatever the thing is. You want to have control for it. Okay? You want to have control about it, control in it. And then you want to have a middle ground between logic and intuition. Because logic, yes, you're going to think about what you already know, right? It's going to be about what you already know. Intuition, you're going to feel things about this situation that you don't know. So somewhere between there, let your intuition and your logic work together. And so you may find yourself trying to move slow, a little bit slower. But I will say that's where that control comes in, Capricorn. And then you want to find a middle ground in between being very ambitious about the thing and having peace about it. So you don't want to be so at peace that you miss something because you're not moving. And you don't want to be overly ambitious to where you're moving too much. And that goes back into like the urgency of a thing. And then you're like being reckless about it. You're rushing to get it done, right? You don't want to do that. But you do want to recognize that this thing, whatever it is that you're transforming on the inside, it really needs, it really does need to be, I want a better word for handled, dealt with. I want a better word for that. But anyway, Capricorn, you may really be learning that not every decision needs to be made from a place of pressure, right? We're learning, Capricorn, to be different than that. And it could be a limiting belief that I gotta go, 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 go. However, you're not there in this thing. This thing is breaking the old cycle of Capricorn. Okay? So you're not gonna be there anymore where you gotta rush, 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 do. We're not, tearing up things anymore and fixing them back, or, having to find a way to feel needed. You're gonna trust this process, whatever this tearing down is and rebuilding, because we have the Tower. We have the Tower, Capricorn. Excuse the talking. I have some really loud neighbors. Okay. So this Tower card, Capricorn, with the Knight of Swords preceding it, I would pay attention to like sudden movement. I would definitely pay attention to sudden movement. Something may change quickly. Once again, we have the Knight of Swords and now we have the Tower. So something may change quickly. A decision could accelerate. A truth could become impossible to ignore. A situation could reach its breaking point. Or you could make a bold decision that completely changes the direction that you're moving in. But again, the Tower is fundamentally about revelation and restructuring. Something unstable gets exposed. Something outdated gets removed. Something you've been tolerating is no longer tolerable. And sometimes we're the ones who initiate the Tower because we finally decide, I'm not living like this anymore. So, me personally, Capricorn, the way that I'm feeling inside, I would definitely tell you this is not a reading to fear. This is a reading of some underlying changes that's happening. Then we have the overall energy. I'm sorry, Capricorn. We have the overall energy. And that's the Ten of Swords. And Capricorn, you all know as long as you've been here, I don't read reversals. But the way that this reversal popped out at me, the way that it came out at me, it dang near hit me and was like, you better not flip me over. Like, this card totally talked to me. And I'm so glad that it did, because the Ten of Swords in reverse is recovery. It's recovery from an ending. You've been through so much, Capricorn. Maybe it was disappointment, betrayal, failed plans, career situations. Maybe it was a relationship, or simply just an old version of you that just, it needs to die out. But you're not staying there. You're getting back up. The Ten of Swords, it says the worst is behind you and you're beginning to reclaim your power. That's what the Ten of Swords in reverse is saying. Once again, I do not read reversals unless this reversal comes out and tells me what I better do, what I better not do. And this reversal came out, Capricorn, telling me, leave me like this. Okay? So this card is very beautiful with the Knight of Swords, because it's saying, I'm getting my mental back. I'm coming back into myself, who I am born to be. Your confidence is coming back. The willingness to act is coming back. You're no longer lying in the place where life knocked you down. You are actually moving again, Capricorn. This is so promising for everything that you were going through, because last week when we had the readings, Capricorn, it was great. They were wonderful. But it's almost as if, yes, the first reading was surface. The second reading, we were going inside, and now we are inside, Capricorn. Okay? And then we have a wonderful card again. We kind of recognize this card as wonderful up front. The other ones sometimes need interpretation. But we have the Ten of Pentacles. Ah, beautiful. Okay, so the Ten of Pentacles makes this very interesting, because underneath like all of this movement and healing and restructuring, you have stability, legacy, wealth, family, long-time security. You're building something that will last. This is confirmation on top of confirmation, Capricorn. That's what this is. Your readings have been confirming the other after the other, okay? This suggests that the changes happening now may ultimately be connected to the bigger life that you're creating, okay? Either trying to create or creating. And I said trying because sometimes, Capricorn, we can get out of a energy because we may feel a certain way, and we did have like procrastinating and those words like that. So let's just say you go too far to the left or too far to the right. So that's why I'm using the word trying. However, Capricorn, we want to be doing it, okay? So keep the temperance in mind. Stay patient with yourself. Give yourself grace and give yourself mercy, right? Okay, so, whether you initiated the tower or not, the tower didn't destroy your future. It's not doing that. It's clearing the way for your future. That's what the tower is doing. So when we look at these cards, we have the Knight of Swords, where you're making decisions. We have the Temperance card, because you're making those decisions very wisely. And then we have the Tower card. We're being willing to let the old structure change. And then we have the Ten of Swords reversed. You're recovering from what tried to break you. And Ten of Pentacles, you're building something that's lasting, Capricorn. This is a very powerful message. And honestly, for career and finances, I will pay a lot of attention to the Knight of Swords, Tower, and the Ten of Pentacles, because this is representing a major shift in how Capricorn approaches their career finances. You may suddenly realize it's like it could be 20 years or whatever of doing something. You're like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I can create something better, And sometimes we get so complacent. Sometimes we get so happy, or we're just stagnant, thinking that this is it, or thinking, you know what? My life is good. But then, like we have stuff that's changing today, the government and everything, and we realize, well, we need to do something about it. A lot of people are getting second jobs, building something, leaving it alone. I'm seeing a lot of trading. I'm seeing a lot of investing. I'm seeing a lot of people moving to other countries because they're trying to preserve what they have created or made. I'm just seeing a lot of money moving around because people are trying to pretty much keep what you have. And I will say this because I have seen people moving money to different banks in other countries legally, but I've seen it. So it's just like a preservation. People are trying to preserve themselves. People are trying to build. People are trying to double what they have, So, Capricorn, some people after 20 years or so, it doesn't have to be that long. People, could be changing careers, starting a business, like I was saying, pursuing opportunities. Leaving an old work environment, changing positions, restructuring finances, making major investments in themselves, turning an idea into action. So, like, you could have a life story that you turn into a book, you know? But here the temperance is saying, don't burn the bridge before you've built the next one. So don't move into that new thing or don't get rid of that old thing until you move into the new, you know. And sometimes, I'm seeing a house. So sometimes you may not sell a house, you may rent the house out, you know. So not necessarily burning it at all. You're using it. You're flipping that debt into something positive, something that's bringing income into your home. So the goal, Capricorn, is not to escape. The goal is to transition in an intelligent manner. And the Ten of Pentacles says that the ultimate goal is not just immediate money, but long-term security. Capricorn, this is a very strong spiritual message. And I believe these cards are asking you to understand something very important. Your life can change quickly once your mind changes. It changes as fast as you want it to. Your mind changes. Your subconscious and your conscious mind agree, right? Your subconscious controls the majority of what you do, what you think. It's that safety zone for you. It controls you from what has hurt you in the past. And it goes all the way back to childhood. For some people before they even entered Earth. But once these agree, things can change very quickly for you. It's all about how fast these things agree. The Knight of Swords is the decision. The Tower is the disruption. The disruption. And the Ten of Swords, the reversal of the Ten of Swords is the recovery. The Ten of Pentacles is what you are building. So, this could be a reading about someone finally realizing, I survived that chapter. I don't have to keep living like that. I'm not in that anymore. So, Capricorn, don't confuse the destruction of an old structure with the destruction of your future. Don't do that. Sometimes the thing that's falling apart is simply too small to hold the life you're building. You're going from survival to stability, from ending to legacy. From what hurt you to what you build because of the hurt. This is progression. You are making progression. I want to thank you so much for being here, Capricorn. Please like, share, subscribe to this channel. I really appreciate you. Have a great day. Until next time.